Now, if you're anything like me, you probably imagine astronauts to be pretty smart, level-headed, and good-natured people, right? Well, I mean, they're put through some super intense training to prepare them to survive incredibly long and isolating trips floating in space. So then how did Lisa Nowak, an accomplished aeronautical engineer, NASA astronaut, and United States Navy captain, go completely off the rails and become the first astronaut ever to face felony charges? So who was Lisa really? Lisa Marie Nowak was born in Washington, D.C. on May 10th, 1963, and she was literally primed to work at NASA. In 1985, Lisa graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, and after 10 years in the Navy, in 1996, she was selected by NASA to be an astronaut at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, qualifying as a mission specialist in robotics. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, you could say she was pretty freaking accomplished, right? And yet, despite her many accomplishments, Lisa Nowak, once described as an American hero of epic proportions, may only be remembered for that fateful night when she drove over 900 miles and 14 hours from Houston to Orlando in the wee hours of February 5th, 2007 to confront her ex-lover's new girlfriend after a devastating rejection. Yeah, you could say she was ready to go. So how on Earth, or rather in space, did we get here? Let's back up for a minute. Lisa Nowak met the ex-lover in question, Bill O'Fallon, in 1996 while training together in the NASA Space Shuttle program. And just by the nature of that training, they spent a lot of time in close quarters, apparently sharing a desk and even once spending a week and a half together training for cold weather survival. But their relationship didn't officially begin until 2004. And despite both being married and both having kids, things started getting cozy outside of the office, and they had an affair that lasted 3 years. During the course of the affair, Bill eventually ended things with his wife, Michaela, while Lisa stayed married to her husband, Richard Nowak, until they separated in early 2007. A few weeks prior to the infamous incident, Bill decided to end things with Lisa, telling her that he was falling in love with his new and younger girlfriend. An Air Force captain with an engineering degree named Colin Shipman, who he had started dating a few months prior. In apparent foreshadowing, Colleen asked Bill how Lisa took the news, telling the police that she even asked him, "Is there gonna be some crazy lady showing up at my door trying to kill me?" To which Bill replied that Lisa was totally fine with it and even happy for him. Despite the fact that she continued to call and text him almost daily, Bill later reiterated to police that it seemed like Lisa took the news well, all things considered. Well, as we know, Lisa did not take this well. Using a key that she still had to Bill's apartment, Lisa broke in and dug through his computer. And what did she find? Yeah, some pretty raunchy emails sent between Bill and Colleen while Bill was on a mission to the International Space Station. Just to give you a preview, the subject line on one reads, "I need a rub down." To quote Colleen, "First urge will be to rip your clothes off, anxious to get to you alone." And this one from Bill, "I need to see you. I'm having Colleen withdrawals. Must see Colleen." This all sends Lisa over the edge because nobody needs to see all of that when you're going through a breakup. And in the midst of her apparent spiral, along with the emails, Lisa also finds Colleen's travel plans. And that's when she resolves to do what any reasonable person would do. Get in your car, drive 14 hours, and confront the girl that's stealing your dude. So Lisa takes off on her mission to hunt down Colleen, armed with, well, reportedly quite a few things, including a steel mallet, buck knife, a BB gun with ammo, latex gloves, 4 feet of rubber tubing, duct tape, garbage bags, a floppy disk containing images of bondage, a map to Colleen's neighborhood, and the only thing she actually ended up using on her victim was pepper spray. Crazy. She came in locked and loaded. She also reportedly packed, rather infamously, a bunch of adult diapers because she didn't want to make any pit stops and bathroom breaks on her way from Houston to Orlando. That's weird, but we're moving forward. That's how you know she put some thought into all this, right? Just think about like running through your house and grabbing all this shit. And then you take a pit stop at Home Depot for your mallets and then duct tape. I mean, that's not suspicious at all. So Lisa takes off on her mission, beelining it straight from Houston to Orlando. This drive is over 900 miles and takes over 14 hours. So she finally arrives at the Orlando International Airport after midnight, disguised in a black wig and a trench coat. Again, super not suspicious at all, right? And she's just hanging around baggage claim, waiting for Colleen to appear. Lisa eventually spots Colleen in the terminal, and she sees her getting on a shuttle to head to her car. So Lisa continues to follow her onto the shuttle. As Colleen gets off the shuttle and starts heading to her car, she hears someone behind her and she can feel that she's being pursued. Naturally, Colleen started to hustle to get to her car a little faster and frantically jumps in, because if someone in a trench coat starts running after you in a dark parking lot, anyone with half a brain stem is gonna be like, yo, I gotta start running too. So just as Colleen locks the door, Lisa actually tries to open the car door. And when she realizes that she can't get in, she starts asking for help, saying that her boyfriend forgot to pick her up from the airport. She asks Colleen if she could give her a ride or use her cell phone. Colleen's like, no, absolutely not. But hang tight, I'll send someone for you. Desperate at this point, Lisa starts crying and says she can't hear what Shipman is saying, which is when Colleen makes a huge mistake and opens the window, just enough for Lisa to spray pepper spray into her car. Luckily, Colleen was able to drive away and immediately call the police. And when officers arrived at the scene shortly after, they found that Lisa was nearby and she was trying to get rid of her disguise. And along with finding the bag of weapons that she had packed with her, detectives also said that Lisa was carrying a copy of those emails between Bill and Colleen. In the end, Lisa claimed that she was only trying to talk to Colleen. But it seemed pretty clear from the evidence they found that Lisa may have intended to cause some harm. It's important to note, at this point, Colleen had no idea who this woman was. She said that she thought that she was just a criminal doing a random crime, which makes sense. It probably seemed like a regular old carjacking. But a few hours later, while she was down at the police station, Colleen noticed a NASA ID on the desk of one of the officers. And then weirdly, she heard the word astronaut in the hallway. She was so confused by this, and she literally thought that this woman stole a NASA ID, not even considering that she was somehow connected to her lover, Bill. It's easy to laugh about the whole diaper thing, but this all must have been pretty terrifying for Colleen, right? But while the media quickly whipped themselves into a frenzy around the more salacious details, everyone forgot to ask the only important question. Was Colleen okay? Since the incident, Colleen Shipman moved to Alaska and says she still experiences anxiety, migraines, and nightmares to this day, and keeps herself armed 24/7. So it's safe to say that this incident understandably caused her some lasting trauma. But in the end, there's a glimmer of hope, because Colleen and Bill ended up getting married. So I guess it was all worth it. They now have a son and live together in Alaska, running the website adventurewrite.com, which promotes writing for kids, which is actually really wholesome. So I guess this part of the story has a happy ending at least? Lisa was initially charged with attempted kidnapping with intent to inflict bodily harm, battery, and burglary of a vehicle using a weapon. If convicted, she could have faced up to life in prison for more serious felony charges. She pled guilty to a reduced sentence of burglary of an automobile and misdemeanor battery, and under her plea deal was sentenced to only 2 days in jail and a year of probation. Lisa apologized to Colleen in court, saying she was sincerely sorry for her actions and promised to never contact Colleen again. In 2010, she received an other than honorable discharge from the Navy. And maybe worst of all was that Lisa became a punchline for talk show hosts and news reporters around the world as the diaper-wearing astronaut. Even though her lawyer would later claim that she was never even wearing the diapers and they were just toddler diapers left in the car from when her family evacuated from Hurricane Rita, despite the fact that it was apparently Lisa herself who told the police that she had worn them so she wouldn't need to make any stops, right? Likely story. I guess the jury's still out on this one. In any case, obviously her career at NASA was over, and she became the first active astronaut to ever be fired from NASA. As for where Lisa is now, well, she's living a quiet life in a modest home outside of Houston, Texas, where she works in a private sector. Understandably, she does her best to avoid the media, declining to give interviews on the disgraceful incident that happened more than 15 years ago. That was a lot. And if you'd like to hear more totally wild scoring lover stories, let me know in the comments below and we'll see what we can dig up for you guys. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. My name is Mack and I'll see you next time on Killer Bites.